Wonder Man is the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe TV show on Disney Plus. It is also a Marvel Spotlight show. What does that mean? Well, it kind of seems to be the case that Marvel Spotlight label being put on a show means that it's a show that Marvel made, but they kind of regret making, but they made it, so they're just going to put it out anyway. But the Marvel Spotlight label lets you know, like, okay, listen, you can watch it, but you don't really have to. Like, if you don't watch this, then that doesn't mean that, you're going to be lost in the future. That's what it feels like. Because the only other show that they've put the Marvel Spotlight label on was Echo. Yeah, we're probably not seeing Echo again, if we're being completely honest. So it kind of and by the way, they put all the Wonder Man episodes out at once, so you can just binge the whole thing now. And so yeah, going into this, seeing all those red flags, I was going like, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, this is probably not going to be very good. But in the back of my mind, I was like, the trailer for this actually did look intriguing, so I don't know. But regardless, I binged the whole thing. And I gotta say, I really liked it. I understand why Marvel wasn't confident in this, though, because at the end of the day, it doesn't feel like your average Marvel show or Marvel movie. And Marvel will often say that, right? Like, Marvel will say, oh, dude, the Eternals? This isn't your average Marvel movie, bro. It's a lot more intellectual, and it's much more of a drama than it is a Marvel movie. But, you watch The Eternals and it ends in a big third act CGI battle. Like, it's a freaking Marvel movie. Let's be crystal clear. Even WandaVision, right? That did feel pretty unique and distinct starting out. But, by the end of it all, you got Scarlet Witch floating around the place. She's throwing fireballs. It ends in a big CGI battle. Even WandaVision, at the end of the day, is a Marvel show. Wonder Man is actually fairly unique in that this is a show about an actor, Simon Williams. He's a struggling actor, and he is trying to get his big break by getting the role of Wonder Man. And there's really there's not a ton of action in this. There's no, big antagonist character that, it ends with him fighting a big CGI villain. For the most part, that is what the show is about. It is just you are seeing an actor trying to get the role of a lifetime. And I enjoyed that about it. This is a show that if it didn't have the Marvel label on it, I would still like it, and it wouldn't feel weird. Now, the one thing that I did get from the trailers that isn't really true is that I felt that this was going to be a satirization of the comic book movie genre, kind of in the vein of, The Boys does that a bit. And it's really not that. This is really more of a love letter to being a struggling actor in Hollywood. Because I feel like most of the, most of the things that it's making commentary on is about the build-up to Simon Williams, auditioning for Wonder Man and stuff like that. It's not so much about the making of the Wonder Man movie itself. And, I'm not an actor, but I've heard that it's very accurate to that experience, like the auditioning processes and stuff like that. So I think they did a really good job of it, where actors can really empathize with our main character. But, even if you're somebody who, has a dream of, doing something or just has struggled with finding purpose in your life and you just kind of feel like you're wasting your time, maybe, anybody can relate to Simon Williams as a character. And I mean, it's just really solid. But again, I can understand why Marvel was like, you know what? This is a good show. We don't know if it's going to hit. So we're just going to dump all the episodes at once and people can watch it or not watch it. I get it. And also, I don't think that this would have been a satisfying week-to-week watch because the episodes are very short. And I do think that, because I'll say this. I'm feeling that way about The Pit. The Pit was a show that I binged the entire first season, a few weeks before the season 2 came out. And watching that show week to week is not satisfying at all because it's not like every episode tells its own distinct story. It's all one interconnected narrative. That's kind of how Wonder Man feels, where it's all one interconnected story. There is one episode that tells its own thing, but for the most part, I'm glad that I was able to watch the 8 episodes at my own pace, as fast or as slow as I wanted to. I'll talk about the cast. Yahya Abdul Mateen, he plays Wonder Man, and Ben Kingsley is back as Trevor Slattery, and they are great together. The show really does center around their dynamic, and these two characters, the friendship that they build, the relationship that they build, sort of the nature of their friendship was really interesting. Yeah, I don't think that was spoiled in the trailers, so I won't mention it. Yeah, they're great. The fact that Trevor Slattery, by the end of Wonder Man, like when you really think about how he started off in Iron Man 3, his arc going into the finale of Wonder Man is kind of incredible. Like, it is not something that I ever thought I would say, but seeing how they really managed to turn Trevor Slattery into a real character in the show is very impressive. Simon Williams, he's kind of an asshole. Like, he's not a super likable and personable guy, but but the fact that it's good that they got somebody as good as Yahya Abdul Mateen, because he's still interesting to watch. Like, he is this like obsessive actor that kind of pushes the people in his life away from him. But you still feel that passion behind him, the love of performance, this drive that he has to be an actor. Like, it's actually really cool. But there are definitely some moments in this that are like super uncomfortable. Like, right off the bat in the first episode, he's like shooting a movie, and he does something that is like, even I'm not an actor, right? I've never been on a movie set. I feel like even I would know, like, you do not need to do that. Don't do that. Stop doing that. But yeah, he's a compelling villain. I shouldn't say compelling villain. He's a compelling protagonist to watch. I like that we're getting back to, like, giving us people that are kind of assholes, that are not good people, but making them our protagonists, and having just really good writing so that you're still interested in the character and you want to see him grow throughout the season. It's not quite as extreme as this, but it kind of reminded me of Marty Supreme. So again, I want to avoid spoilers, but the Department of Damage Control is back in the show. I think we've only seen them in, I want to say, Spider-Man No Way Home. I think the Department of Damage Control is like interviewing Peter Parker. I think. Were they in anything else? I kind of can't remember. But they are like the agency that monitors superpowered beings. And the way that they establish because this is the one thing that I think will probably permeate throughout the MCU, the way that they really established their presence in the Marvel Universe in the show, and the way that they established what they're willing to do, is actually pretty significant. And again, I won't go into any details here, but I think probably will. I think it'll probably have an impact, especially in the mutant saga, whenever we get around to mutants, but I won't go too deep into that. Yeah, man. Overall, I just really enjoyed this series. I'm glad that Marvel didn't cancel it, because I was reading that they were thinking about Batgirling it. And, even if it doesn't get the most amount of viewership, it doesn't seem like it was super expensive to make. It's not setting up anything, so it's not an unsatisfying watch, even if we never see Wonder Man again in any other Marvel project. This is its own self-contained limited series that I really enjoyed watching. Let me know what you thought about it if you watched it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.